most shocking, maybe that's the wrong word, but I'm going to stick with it. What's the most shocking aspect of your job and of dealing with the consumer and housing issues that you've seen here in Baltimore City?
So I think one that's shocking is, and I'm not going to say like I'm not a part of it too. Like some of the beliefs people have
Okay.
when someone is facing like someone owes a debt or someone is in a housing crisis. Um, well, I'll just say like tax sale foreclosures. The literally for every like city council meeting or like roundtable we were in discussing the impact of tax sale, the number one like argument against us advocates was they just need to pay their property taxes. If they could pay, they wouldn't be in this situation.
Right.
And then the other argument was it's not predatory because it's legal. And it's like many, many things were illegal that
Right.
were very predatory.
Right.
um, but it's just like this ideology like if they don't work, they don't they don't eat. I mean, I know that's a biblical thing, but it had you didn't. I was like, only God can do that. Like, you don't have to force someone into like slave labor in order for them to stay in the house that they own.
Right.
So it's like some people's logic when it comes to housing or consumer issues. I do believe like of course if you've taken out a debt, yes, you have to pay it back.
Hmm.
But if you have fallen on a hard time, I don't think the tactics in which many creditors take to get the money is necessary. Like a phone call saying that you owe this debt or a letter saying that you owe this debt, I feel like it's sufficient. So the abusive phone calls, the constant letters, and then the harassment that some clients receive, I think that's unnecessary. They've gotten the point. They owe a debt. They've probably told you on multiple occasions that they cannot afford to pay, but you're using these aggressive tactics to force them to pay you,
Hmm.
which is going to push them into further cyclical poverty.
Can you talk a little bit more about what kind of harassment you've seen?
So you'll get a client who is like they're calling me all the time, and now depending on the client and what they mean by all the time, that could be like once a day.
Hmm.
For some people, creditors can be calling them like 3, 4 times a day. They'll get a letter. They can be receiving letters. Sometimes when they call, the rep may not be friendly. The rep will be aggressive. Will be like, "Well, I'll arrest you. I'll have the cop come pick you up, and you'll go to jail." Which, by the way, if you do owe a debt in Maryland and you get a judgment, there is a thing called a body attachment that we have here. So if your creditor issues a body attachment, any interaction you have with the police can end in your arrest.
Tell us more about body attachments.
Okay, so
Yeah, let's expand on that.
yeah, so body attachments, although like many counties have done away with it because it does bring embarrassment on the creditors and the police department. Um, it's mostly prominent in Anne Arundel County.
Okay.
So if you owe a debt, they get a judgment, and say you didn't do the interrogatories the creditor sent you, or you didn't schedule the oral exam with the creditor or something, they can and or they cannot find any income or employment for you. They can ask the court to issue a body attachment. A body attachment essentially says you owe a debt and you haven't paid it. And so because of that, we want you arrested and we want you in jail until you pay this debt. And so if you get into a traffic, you driving and say you run a red light and you get pulled over by the police or something of that nature, and when they run your name, all the police officer sees is that you have a warrant. So a body attachment becomes a warrant in their system. So
Wow.
they just have a warrant for your arrest. And so they will arrest you. They may not know why. They just says there's a warrant, there's a bench warrant for you, so we're going to arrest you. You get taken down to the station, whatever, they'll probably pull it up to be like why you've been arrested and all that stuff. And it'll be like, okay, you owe a debt for like $600. That's why you were arrested, and we can't release you until you pay your
That's
$600.
insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I don't
Um,
know how that's even. How is that even on the books?
so right, but apparently it's a very old law. So it debtors' prisons. I think you may
Yeah,
have heard body attachment as a debtor's prison.
I've heard of debtor. Yeah,
A
yeah,
debtor's prison.
yeah.
That's essentially a body attachment is debtor's prison.
That's insane.
Yeah.
2022.
Yes.
And so, does Baltimore City have that?
So yes, they do. So they can issue a body attachment. Any of the judges can if they want to. I don't know not one judge in district court or in the circuit court that is going to issue a body attachment
Yeah.
in the city. A lot of the judges don't like to do it, and also it wastes police resources, especially in the city.
Right.
Because why am I arresting you on a debt?
Right.
Um, because then even you're in prison, you have to go in front of the magistrate within 24 hours. That judge is likely going to release you. They're not going to keep you in jail over a debt, but it's the sheer process that you have to go through is a waste of everybody's time.